So a couple years ago, I made a video about a Japanese football club by the name of Vigolta Sendai. It was a story of coming together to heal one another after the horrific tsunami in 2011. The club and its fans had played a large role in helping with the relief, and in return, the entire region backed this team. And through sheer grit and passion, Vigolta Sendai would experience their two best ever seasons, finishing 4th in 2011 and runners-up in 2012. Mind you, this was a team that had just promoted to J1 a year prior to the disaster. It was an incredible feat, but not that many people around the world were aware of it. To this day though, this video holds a special place in my heart because of how much of an impact it had on me. Hell, because of that video, I became a Vigolta Sendai supporter and became much more interested in the J-League in general. Now, one thing you gotta know about Vigolta Sendai is that they sing Country Roads by John Denver before every game. And as someone who's lived in the US his entire life and has always admired those clips of massive stadiums singing that song, going to Sendai and singing with the fans became a dream of mine. And just a year and a half later, thanks to the J-League, I made that dream come true. Sendai were terrible that year, by the way. Throughout most of the season, they were doing just enough to survive, and this was pretty bad considering they had just relegated to the 2nd division a few years prior. It got so bad that fans were actually protesting, which is kind of unheard of in Japanese football. Unless you're from Sendai. But this year has been way better. Sendai appointed a new head coach in Yoshiro Moyama, and through his leadership and Motohiko Nakajima's breakout season, Sendai were able to sneak into 6th on the final day to have a chance at promotion to J1 through the playoffs. Vigolta Sendai entered the playoffs as the worst seed and would have to travel all the way down to Kyushu to play top-seeded Vivere Nagasaki. But Sendai started extremely well in the match, earned a penalty early on, and then pretty much just ran away with the game, winning 4-1. And so with that result, Vigolta Sendai were just one game away from returning to J1. Probably a good time to fit this little segment in where I basically show the pictures of the food that you guys are eating while watching my videos. First, we have the breakfast of EPL champions, a delicious looking pizza, the peak of an American meal, a hot dog, and some mac and cheese on a paper plate. Also, I'm going to throw in a couple bonuses because these came in a little bit later, but we also had the glorious torta, and also someone drinking a bottle of wine. If you'd like to have a chance of featuring on the channel like this, all you gotta do is just post the photo and tag me on Instagram or Twitter. Now, I actually included the weekend that the J2 playoff was happening in my vacation, just so that if Sendai were to reach the final, I could go see that match. I didn't think they were actually going to do it though. Initially, I thought the playoff final worked like everywhere else. It would just be played at a neutral venue. For example, in Japan, we have the Tokyo National Stadium. I mean, the previous final was hosted there, so, it only makes sense. What I failed to realize was actually the top-seeded team hosts the final. The only reason why it was even at the Tokyo National Stadium last year was because Tokyo Verdy was the highest seed. With that said, Sendai by default would be the away team, so they would have to travel to, what the fuck is an Okayama? Tokyo to Okayama. This should be fun, especially since I was doing this all on about 3 hours of sleep. Why so little sleep, you may ask?
I can't stop the loneliness!
Alright, so while B-roll of my bullet train plays, let me briefly explain how the hell I managed to get a ticket in the first place, because it wasn't exactly that easy. After asking pretty much every J-League connection I had, I managed to lock in a ticket for myself, which was personally arranged by an Okayama player. Thank you, Junki Kaneyama. And also a big thank you to Keisuke Yamada for sorting me out too. Anyways, after a quick stop in Osaka to see some friends and eat some delicious soba, we finally arrived in Okayama. Well, I still had to get to the hotel, and boy do I have a story there. So to get to the hotel, I had to take a bus from the train station. Pretty typical stuff. And when I got on the bus, I sat near the back, and there wasn't that many people riding. But as the bus started making its stops, more and more people filled up the bus to the point that you had to actually just push your way out. Even worse, I had 2 giant bags with me. So now I'm kind of panicking, like, what the hell am I supposed to do? The bus then finally gets to my stop, and I genuinely have no idea how I'm gonna get out of this damn bus. And everyone's just looking at me as I struggle to leave. Shout out to the bus driver though. Usually you have to go all the way to the front to leave, but he knew that shit would have been impossible and let me leave through the middle exit. Thank you, bus driver. And finally, after nearly tripping multiple times over people's legs, I get out, and as I'm about to leave, the bus driver says something to me. I look back, and the whole fucking bus is looking at me and waiting for me to scan out to pay because I forgot to. Christ above, that was embarrassing.
Food review, random food review, food review. So basically, there was a Lawson's like right down the street from the hotel. I grabbed myself the beloved hot chocolate. This shit is fucking incredible. It's also in a bottle. They heat it up. Incredible. I don't know why we can't just have this in the States. Like, it's so simple. Just have like a heater, you know, put shit like this in it, and listen, we'd be raining in money, more money, the economy. Like, it's that simple. I told you guys a lot about the Fami Chiki. Thing is, I've never had basically like the Lawson's version of the Fami Chiki. So tonight at about 11 p.m. I'm gonna have a little bit of a snack. We're gonna see if this matches up to Fami Chiki at all. So scratch, sniff, the rest is mine.
Jesus Christ, man. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the fit of the day, the 2004-06 Vigolta Sendai shirt that I bought last minute while in Vietnam. But you remember when I said I got a ticket from an Okayama player? Well, those seats were the Okayama section. And where it said I would be sitting was in the section labeled SS. The supporters section? Actually, no, it was the seated supporters, but I wouldn't realize that till hours later, so my ass low-key kind of freaked the fuck out about how to hide my identity like some kind of Vietnamese Vigolta Sendai spy. And so the journey began. Wait, hold on, that's the wrong floor. And so the journey begins. Okayama ain't that big. From the hotel to the stadium was a 30-ish minute walk. So hey, let's soak in the morning of a random Saturday in Okayama for a bit. I took a good amount of photos on this walk, including one of this quiet little flower shop on the corner of this street. And this is probably one of my favorite photos on the entire trip. Mind you, this is like 2 streets away from a very busy street. Okayama's kind of weird though, like I don't know how to describe it, but I came across some very interesting buildings. There's this building that I would have never expected to ever see in Japan of all places. And then there's the Cafe of Modern Apartment. Coma. But I love this little walk, man. The calm tunes in my ears let my mind be free and wander. My feet bounced to the beats while I looked around and saw all these apartments, restaurants, and shops that make up these chaotic yet peaceful neighborhoods. The next time you see something and feel the urge to take a photo, don't just take it while you're still moving. Pause for a couple moments, set the position of your camera, capture the shot, and then stay a little longer. Soak in the sounds, the smells, the feeling of just being there. I feel like too often we're swept along by the fast pace we perceive the world to go at, racing to keep up. But when we pause, we reclaim something precious. Control over our personal experiences, and I think that has never been more important than now. It's a pretty typical thing in Japan to have a massive park within walking distance of a sports stadium. I've walked through many, but Okayama's was absolutely mesmerizing. Just an autumn wonderland. Everywhere you looked, you were greeted by some of the most gorgeous reds, oranges, and yellows, and hiding in the backdrop were the hills to the north, which completed such a vibrant scene you thought you could only find in those shitty Hallmark movies. Once you arrive in the open area outside the stadium, it just gets better. Because everything surrounding you is just full of life, whether it be the beautiful hills of foliage or the cacophony of supporters embracing with one another, all experiencing a mix of nervousness and excitement as they eagerly wait to see whether their team will be in the pinnacle of football in Japan next year. If you ever decide to go to a football match in Japan, always come early so you miss the long lines for food, because you just simply cannot miss the food. Incredibly high quality and very cheap as well, averaging around like $5. The food is also all local, which just sums up the average matchday experience in Japan. Everything here revolves around a tight-knit community, from the board members all the way down to the fans. And ironically enough, this is a fan-owned club, but you'll find this matchday experience at any of the Japanese clubs. I mentioned the board members because I actually unknowingly met one and told them about how I got my ticket. And you know, they saw the humor in it, they just kind of laughed and gave me a little fist bump. What I realized about 4 seconds later, that was the chairman. By the way, Japan's got one of the worst English proficiency rates in all of Asia. Like, I'm pretty sure Vietnam is actually higher ranked. And on my last trip, this kind of intimidated me a lot. However, on this one, I set myself out to talk to as many people as I could, no matter the language barrier. It was an exercise for me to improve my social skills and to also stop giving so much of a shit about what other people thought, which helped a lot with my confidence. And in these situations, no matter the barrier, you really don't gotta think of anything clever. I mean, what I did was just ask fans of either team, what do you think the score will be? Most would just say a score, a lot of 3-0s and 2-0s if they were Okayama fans, and then if they were a Sendai fan, we'd share a Ganbatte Sendai. But there was this one group of people that I asked who actually invited me to their table, and we shared some food together. This guy here is Karu, like the footballer. Yes, I did make that comment. Really cool guy. He's from Okayama, but he's actually a Kobe fan. And he also loves Linkin Park. I know I'm not the only one here who has ever felt socially inept just because they never know where to start, so let me tell y'all something that I learned last year. I was always scared and awkward because I would overthink everything and worry, but the more you put yourself out there, the more you start to realize that everyone feels the exact same way. People like being approached. People do not like being the ones doing the approaching. You know that feeling of being approached by someone friendly. It's a good one, so why not make someone else feel that way? Anyways, enough introspectives. It's game time, baby! For my fellow JoJo fans, you might notice this flag here. Well, fun fact, the mangaka of JoJo is from Sendai. Also, Morio is inspired by Sendai. Mori, 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 Mori. So I've talked a lot about Vergota Sendai on this channel, but let's briefly take a look at our opponents for today, Fagiano Okayama. Time for some Okayama lore. Yes, you heard that right. Only on a channel with a guy that has undiagnosed ADHD will you ever hear this shit on football YouTube. The legend of Momotaro is a very famous folklore in the city. It tells the story of a boy born from a peach who befriended 3 talking animals, and they banded together to protect Okayama from the demons. One of those talking animals was a pheasant, and the word for pheasant in Italian is Fagiano. Only 19 years ago, fan-owned Fagiano Okayama was in the 4th division of Japanese football. They then experienced back-to-back promotions from the Chugoku League all the way to J2. For the next 15 years, Okayama hung around the bottom half of J2 with the occasional top half finish. Fortunes have changed as of late though, with Okayama finishing 3rd in 2022. And then this year, they finished the regular season in 5th, and then upsided the 4th seed to host their first ever J2 playoff final. Alright, enough propaganda. Country roads time. Vegalta Sendai, take us home to the promised land where we all belong. J-fucking-1. 10 minutes in, early free kick for Sendai, and Morohiko Nakajima unleashes a bullet that the keeper can only parry away. Good start, boys. Okayama now with an opportunity. The Sendai defense stands strong. Here comes another cross though, but it goes over everyone's head. There's no way he meant that shit. Yeah, so that was easily the least ideal scenario, because we were now chasing the game against a team with the second best defense. As you'd expect, we were stonewalled by them, and in turn, Okayama got a few more chances, but luckily, to no avail. Now halftime, things weren't looking great, but here's the reason why I love this club so much. The fans never give up on their team. I've seen them chant and sing louder than any other fan base in the country while 3-1 down against the league leaders with nothing to play for. So you can sure as hell bet on them putting their all into backing this team for the second half. Let's fucking go, Sendai! 52 minutes played, a break for Sendai, and George Onaiwu puts on the afterburners. He runs like the winds of West Virginia, cuts inside, has a shot, but it's saved. But it's okay. Keep this shit going, boys.
Anytime demons die, it's the act of God. Because can't nobody kill a demon. A demon is too powerful to be killed. A regular human can't kill no demon. That's why the demons are terrorizing everybody. He wasn't the only demons, and he was a powerful demon. He had many followers like Lucifer. One of Satan's greatest soldiers was King Von.
Yeah, it was pretty much over after that. Sendai got close to getting one back, but unfortunately, it hit the crossbar. The pain will never end.
You know, all things considered, it could have been worse.
Oh, why me?
And hey, you know, big congratulations to Okayama. You know, it's the first time they've ever been in the J-League. They were only in JFL like 16 years ago. That's a pretty incredible feat.
I don't like sports. I hate sports. I fucking hate sports. Ow, ow, the floor is hard.
You know, their defense, nearly unstoppable at times. In the first half, they shut us down like nothing.
Is there really a God? God, are you out there?
And like I said, you know, the Okayama story, it's heartwarming.
Are we ever gonna promote back to J1?
But you know, like all things considered, I'm okay.
Being in the middle of all this definitely was not fun, but after the initial depression kind of subsided, I couldn't really help but feel happy for these guys. Emotions were at an all-time high for these fans who had seen it all in this league, and you could tell how much this meant to them. There was one guy in a suit, bawling his eyes out all by himself, and I climbed a row to hug him. Revealed under my jacket the big Sendai badge, we laughed, and then embraced in another hug. I never saw him again after, never will, but I hope he's excited for the next season. So after, I went out for a walk to find some delicious food, and I came across this place that served raw horse. And this shit was incredible.
Okay, alright. Random food review, okay? I went to Lawson's and I got this thing called a pizza bun. This is a pizza bun. What's supposed to be in here is pizza. Scratch, sniff. Let's see how this tastes. Is it just tomato sauce? Is there cheese in here? Oh, fuck. I don't know how to think of this. You know what? Actually, that is fire. That is actually fire. Oh, so good. That's so good.
That's so right.
The next day, I decided to wake up pretty early and go visit the Okayama Castle, because I mean, it was literally 5 minutes away from the hotel. Pretty neat castle, pretty neat view, but if you take this bridge across the Asahi River, you can see something even cooler. Okayama Korokuen. This garden quickly became one of my favorite things to visit. It felt so otherworldly, and it also kinda reminded me of the Teletubbies world. By the way, I had no idea when I was walking around this area, this is actually one of the 3 great gardens in Japan. The more you know. I was gonna head back to Tokyo pretty much after this, but then a friend of mine who's a local gave me some recommendations of places to visit in the city. I didn't really have anything waiting for me back in Tokyo, so fuck it. Why not, right? About 30 minutes via the Kibi line is a town called Kibitsu, and one stop after Kibitsu is a place called, But from the moment I stepped off the train in Kibitsu, I mean, wow. It's something about these rural areas in Japan that just tickle the right part of my brain. I never really know where I am, but I'm at ease walking through my ideal canvas. Some of my favorite shots are from this random rural town in the middle of Kansai. They remind me of why I love traveling so much, and how grateful I am to have seen so much of this beautiful country that only 3 years ago I could have never imagined visiting in my entire lifetime. If you walk about 9 minutes south of the station, you'll find the Kibitsu Jinya. There's a lot of shrines surrounding the area, and you can also visit some of the gift shops, which I decided to do. Yeah, so if you thought the jinx wasn't strong, a day after, Arsenal drew with Fulham, and then my dog died on New Year's Eve. Rest in peace, goat. Okayama, I owe you the sincerest of apologies. I simply was not familiar with your game at all. I really was not expecting this part of my trip to be as unforgettable as it was. And now I have memories that I'll hold on to for, honestly, the rest of my life. As a kid, I was always in pure awe of stories my parents and late grandpa would tell me. Stories of a time when they were younger, when they took on the world, when they made memories that would be stored in the back of their minds in a special chest for decades on end. I was so captivated because I always wondered if this would be me one day. And now here I am, carving my own path, creating my own stories, brick by brick, and living life to its fullest the best way I can. Life sure is something, ain't it? A big thank you, by the way, to my friend Sean in Okayama. It's because of him that I love the city a lot more than I probably should. Here's his Instagram, by the way, if you ever randomly find yourself in Okayama like I did. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. I just feel like these are the types of videos that have more of an impact, right? You have the current event stuff that I make, which is just kind of the videos that pay the bills, let's be honest here. But these are the videos that I want to hopefully do more of when time goes by. Whether that be in Japan, which would honestly be a dream to just cover the sport there, but I first gotta learn the language, or, you know, where I am right now, which isn't Charlotte. It's another city. But I'll reveal that another time. Anyways though, enough of the ADHD riddled video that this has been. A massive shout out to all of our members, including Janos Balash, Brazilian Fury, Jeremiah Owusu Ajimang, Django, Anazir Makalankam, Alex Rod, Ulta, Miguel Munoz, Return Fire, Rory Burns, Slider Kid, Taco Okafan, The Cypriot 35, Not Windows 95 Man, Kentra Agatra, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Wise Orange, Rashford Enthusiast, Cocosaurus Rex, Samu, Cheesebait, Winder Gel, M4 Does Stuff, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portugizer, TPSA 25, Polar Protos, Von Fan, Lucian Von Kreutz, Gazegers Breshakiewicz, Mono Tango Fei, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Mutanai, Sketchy Card, KM89, Apollo, Congo Jas 1, German Sayu 7, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, Petrus 249, Crispus Gonsi, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Kress, Mohammed Altanib, Niche, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch because I will be streaming more often, soon, hopefully. But until then, I'll see you guys. Yo, check this out. Check this out. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But wait, there's more. There's more. There's more. Real ones know about this one. I got this one in Saigon.